Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 695 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Takamala, and I am joined today, of course, by Chris DeBona.
Hi.
And Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
Gentlemen, how
Rob Roseboom, musical prodigy.
Musical prodigy.
Musical prodigy. All right. How's everybody's weekend?
It was busy, very busy.
I hope
I
good
skied
guy.
about 35 miles downhill since our last broadcast.
Was it one hill or in many separate hills?
Well, I mean, it wasn't one 35-mile run. I mean, it was like many runs.
Oh, okay. That would make sense.
I'm very happy with my performance.
All right.
I mean, that's a very fun run, but the lift back to the top
35.
Takes a while.
Yeah.
No. So I guess there's a run at Whistler that's like 7 or 14 miles long or some craziness like
7
that.
or 14. There's a slight difference.
depending on if you go right or left.
I'm looking it up. Sorry, it's Peak to Creek, which is 11 kilometers or 7 miles. There you go.
Imagine you'd be very tired after that.
It's funny, when I start these ski seasons, I'll start with like mile runs, half-mile runs, little
Work
kiddie
up.
runs just to get used to it. Because once you get to the lift, it's a nice break, right?
Totally.
And then here at Telluride, they have a 4.5-mile run from the top of Prospect Lift, which I'm sure means a lot to all of you, all the way down to the bottom of the Meadows base, right? So I'm sort of doing 2 of those, and then I'm doing a number of their 3-mile runs to get my miles up. So, yeah.
You know how to
So
party.
the true thing is efficiency. So, for instance, if I go up the Sunrise Express lift number 10, again, as I'm sure you're familiar, you can go down one of 4 runs, each of which are between 2.5 and 3.5 miles, right? So if you're trying to optimize for maximum miles, you just lap the Sunrise lift until you're blue in the face. Because to get to the 4.5 miles, you have to take Ute Park Express, then you have to take Prospect, and so that tacks on an additional 12 minutes.
This has become a whole thing. Do you watch
I
the
know you'd
Winter
appreciate
Olympics?
Okay, you brought it up.
Yeah.
Remember, all right.
Oh,
so here's the thing.
Is it going to be worse than hearing about ski lifts?
Yes.
Oh no.
No, it's going to be better. So, and I used to go and watch the World Cup as a kid when it was in Salt Lake. I would just go to the hill and watch it. I would ski the runs after the Olympics and the World Cup were gone, to see if I could do it and all the rest. And back then, it was still skiing. It's not skiing anymore. These competitions, what they do is they lay down snow, and then they basically spray it down and make it an ice track.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it's so fast and it's so dangerous that, we're watching kids and adults, basically sacrifice their mobility later in life, and get into these horrific crashes. I mean, they're going beyond the ability of their body to repair. And I think it's actually kind of gruesome. I think we've turned it into and the thing is, everyone in the Olympics is like, oh, the kids don't care about the Olympics. They care about the X Games. We have to be more like the X Games. And I'm like, the X Games kills people. You know that,
That's
right?
why they get the ratings.
That's why people are watching it, because they want
It's
the
like
ratings.
NASCAR.
This is not amateur sport developing into the world's greatest athletes. This is taking kids and feeding them into a meat grinder. And I'm pretty pissed off about it.
I feel really bad about the Olympics because historically I'm Joe Olympics, right? I love watching them.
Yeah.
I watched from the opening ceremonies to the closing ceremonies. I wouldn't turn my TV off. I could tell you what's going on with the medal counts, for 20 years. It's always been just something I've really enjoyed. I have not seen 1 second of this Olympics. And I literally, I don't know why.
Awful.
I would be more interested if they brought back like original stuff, like pancration, with the rule that if you die, if you kill your opponent, then you win automatically.
I like that.
I think those Olympics would be a lot more interesting to watch.
The Master Blaster Olympics?
Yeah.
So, and let's be clear, the new Big Air course, the one that's right next to the old power plant, those great pictures that have been going around, the way they designed it and the way they put the end part. So even if you're successful and you don't crash and end your career skiing or walking, right? And you come into their little like hoop where the winners ski through, it's so short from the hoop to the end. Like about
Uh,
half of the people who have completed it have hit the wall at the end.
Nice.
I was watching a
It's
little
like,
bit of snowboarding this weekend, and that was
yeah,
the case. At the end of the run, you have to turn your board completely sideways and wedge it in the snow as hard as you can, because it looked like after the finish, you had maybe 50 feet to stop all of your momentum before you crashed into the wall.
That
yeah.
seems like a bit of an oversight on the testing committee.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I feel bad. Like I love everything about it, but like there's something about it, and I don't know if it's that the world just sucks now, or if. But I mean, I didn't even watch the opening ceremonies, and I love that stuff. I love the pageantry and the music and the dancing.
I've heard
I
that
love
about
that.
Yeah.
I'm lame. Now, if they would have had James Gunn letting John Cena
Do the
perform
Olympic
at the
music.
opening ceremonies, maybe I would have been interested, because now we know, after our discussion last week, we
Oh, come
discussed if
on.
John Cena could really play the piano or not. It turns out he can. That was actually him playing the piano during Peacekeeper, and he apparently does this occasionally, and there's apparently a YouTube channel where he has played piano. He can play. That's awesome.
He's a sharp guy, you know.
So anyway, that answers my questions from last week. The other thing that we discussed a bit last week that I didn't put a story up for, but I think was new information since we recorded last.
Wait, I have one question.
Yes.
Are you saying that maybe John Cena's the balance of power between John Cena and Dwayne Johnson is going towards Cena now? Like, is The Rock losing his edge to John?
Well, I don't know if The Rock is a fire dancer or not. To be honest, I don't know about his other qualities other than being big and a reasonably
Charming person.
Yeah.
He's this generation's Schwarzenegger, but with way more charisma.
So who is John Cena then? Is he this generation's?
I think he might be more likable, but
That's
I
fair.
mean,
That's fair.
Who can you not say get to the chopper and you know exactly who you're
Exactly.
talking about, right?
I guess, but Schwarzenegger has a limited amount of dialogue that you're going to be able to put in a movie.
Sure. I'm not saying
The Rock.
I'm not saying Hitler had a whole lot of different speeches, but he certainly had a lot of charisma to those people, right? I mean, charisma is a certain thing.
That's fair. There you go. John Cena's Stallone is Magnum PI's thing. If The Rock is Schwarzenegger,
that's it.
then Cena is Stallone.
Yeah, so that's actually not a terrible
That's
comparison.
really good.
Magnum PI. Who was Magnum PI in the original one? Crap. You'd think I'd know.
The
Think of his
mustache?
name. Yeah.
Yeah. But he
Like
didn't
saying,
take
"All
like a career in sport and
Tom
turn it
Selleck?
into Tom Selleck.
There you go.
Like I could see John Cena having at least the profile of Tom Selleck over time.
Oh, for
But,
sure.
But he's way bulkier than Tom Selleck. I mean, way more fit.
That's the
It's
thing that's
just-
weird about both of those guys is they're actually like completely fine actors, like at the same level as like your Ryan Reynolds or whatever. Like all of those guys, they can deliver, if well directed, they can deliver a compelling scene. But the
Yeah.
muscles are weird. Like that's such a thing.
It's such a thing.
Well, let's see. The James Webb Telescope has begun its alignment of its mirrors, and they announced that
so
they
we're
have,
at the. Go ahead.
I just was going to say, they have announced that they've caught their first photons. I like that.
So I think we've gotten to the point in the James Webb Space Telescope where we're re-saying the same story over and over and over again.
I think this
So
was...
we're gonna have a first light. We'll have a first
Sure.
focused light. Then we'll have the first overall mirror focused light. Then we'll have first picture in 2.5 months.
Dude, we have been waiting for this telescope for 25
I
years.
know, and I love it. So all right.
All right. Now, I
I
have another
approve.
one on here which made me laugh like literally out loud. This is
What's up?
the email spam thing. It's a website that generates a bunch of white on white text that you cut and paste into your email body. So it will be rendered invisibly in your browser. But the idea here is if you don't want somebody to actually get your email, you write them you invite them to the party or whatever. And then you paste all of this stuff at the end of your email, but it's white on white, so it's invisible. And then your email to them goes directly to your spam folder, to the spam folder. So you now have plausible deniability. Oh, I sent you that email.
Wow.
That just made me so happy. That is the funniest thing.
So it's from an episode of Nathan for You.
That seems right. I'd never heard of it. It's great.
What's Nathan for you?
Comedy Central?
It's actually there's some very funny bits in it. Basically, it's about a guy who got C's in business school, and now he travels the world helping you with your business as sort of a consultant and stuff. And he comes up with just like
Ridiculous
things that
thing.
are kind of effective, but terrible. One of my favorite episodes, he gets a guy, a Santa impersonator, to come and do a commercial about how children should have this toy, and if you don't have this toy, it means you're a baby. and when people come and sit on Santa's lap, they tell him what he wants, and he's like, "But wouldn't you like this instead? After all, if you don't have one of these, you're a baby." And of course, all the children want it, but parents get mad for some reason. There it is. There's the guy.
I've seen this one.
He's in a couple different episodes.
Yeah. It's a funny show. So is this a bit literally from that show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's inspired. I don't know if he did this actual thing for a business or not.
Gotcha.
Probably
for you, outrageous mall Santa stunts.
Also, that Santa's an ex-con here and was going to attack the mall security guy.
That checks out. That checks out. That's awesome.
Oh.
So I put one
funny.
up, which is not surprising at all.
What's that?
But this is the Supreme Court Wikipedia thing. A former clerk has been rewriting the bios on Wikipedia for potential Supreme Court nominees. And this just goes back to the weirdness of Wikipedia. And this article breaks down the slants that are being edited into their bios. And it's just, you think a lot about how, newspapers, the news is like the first draft of history or whatever, and then you get more as time passes. But this is like something different even than that. Like, this is shaping.
This is
like battle.
Literal.
People are doing battle.
You are literally rewriting history here.
Yeah.
This is what is happening. Not metaphorically, literally.
And I'm sure that in many of these cases, it's legitimate, it's fair, it's probably honest and being done in good faith. And then other times you see it and it's garbage and you're horrible people. But I think that probably mostly depends on your political slant. It's weird. Turns out everything's relative. Even the efficacy of vaccines.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Anyway, that story just made me angry, and it's just
No, this is a classic story. This is a great story.
Well, it happens. It's been happening since the dawn of Wikipedia, really.
Since the dawn of everything, too.
Yeah, right. Since Wikipedia ripped off E2 and made it successful.
Well, it's a bit much, but yeah.
Bit much. Anyway.
Yeah, no, like my Wikipedia is kind of out of date, and I'm wondering if I should break my long-held belief that I should never edit my own Wikipedia page.
They might
I'm good at it. Well, no. So I'm actually really good at this. I understand the Wikipedia editors, and so and their rules. So I know how to put in things that are citable, from a neutral point of view. I've never done it for myself though, so I've always been a little uncomfortable with that. So you know what I used to do at Food Camp? I would have a session where we would edit each other's Wikipedia entries.
Ooh.
And so I edited Jimmy Wales's, I edited a bunch of people's pages. And then, and they would work because we understood how to edit Wikipedia in such a way that was consistent with their guidance. And,
Well, that's the
you know,
thing, right? Is that if you're
yeah.
going in there as an honest actor,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
And you're citing your sources, and the
right,
sources are long-lived. It's very uncontroversial at
there
that
are
point.
certain
And also, I'm
obvious
doing it as
rules.
logged in. I'm not trying to play games behind, VPNs
You're not
or anonymous
going through
accounts.
Tor.
Yeah. No, it's funny because, at Google, this was years ago, 2005, Karen Wickery and I were like, okay, we probably need a policy on editing Wikipedia entries for the company. And so we wrote one, and it was basically like, listen, if you're gonna edit Wikipedia, you're basically speaking on behalf of Google because you're coming from our IP addresses and the rest. If you're doing it at home, whatever, we can, who cares? But, we're like, listen, if you're going to be editing on Google's behalf, meaning doing it from Google's equipment and all the rest, you know, talk to Karen, talk to our press people, and make sure you're not playing some game. But also, B, you're going to have to do it according to how Wikipedia does things. So ask yourself if you really want to do
Yeah,
this.
you mess up, there's a chance that you show up on the front page of some dirtbag's
No,
blog.
well, no, no. Commonly, people will go through and they'll say, well, we know these IP addresses are from Google's internal offices, just like they do with Congress, just like they do with the
Sure.
White House. And they say, here are the edits they do. And they legitimately question if they're legitimate.
Of
So
course,
it's
we
like,
used to
so
do the
you're
same
either
thing.
legit and defendable or don't fucking do it.
We had the IP ranges of all the major corporations marked off, so you could tell
Yeah,
when somebody was pulling shenanigans.
I
Uh,
remember, it's
although
like, oh,
the ones
we've seen
that
this guy before.
really the only time we cared was when it was like, itbob.com, voting down, News Frank
I
in the fire hose.
I think I've mostly not memorized them anymore. I've
Right.
mostly purged them from my brain, but I bet if I saw a list, some part of me might still spark that. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the trace routes were pretty funny, you know. You would do the you know, reverse DNS, or you'd go to the gateway IP and it'd be like, "Welcome to Bobnet" or whatever. And,
Yeah, it was good
That's
uh,
great.
times.
Oh, this same story has been submitted 16 times through
Right?
one of these different ones through
From the
this
same
hub.
IP. And it's weird
Yeah,
how this one IP is voting down every story
yeah,
from any other publication. That's weird.
that's weird.
Who would have thought?
Seems legit.
Yeah. Oh, that's
so,
shocking. All of your cloud in the system is now 0. You no longer have any weight. Oops.
well, speaking of editorial consequences, so uh, Sarah Palin, former Alaska governor and vice presidential candidate,
Wearer of
they've returned to
glasses.
court. They've returned to court against the Times in her libel lawsuit. So they've selected a jury, and you know, there you go. So
That's gonna be a thing.
it's going to be it's kind of a mess. So I actually, so if we were to put that bottle of Chateau Picard back on the table,
Oh.
which I'm happy to give you. I've got multiple bottles though, because Christine actually doesn't
You
like
don't
it
want
very
to
much.
drink it now. The wine tastes worse following the orchid battle.
Oh, now that we know that those aren't real grapes, that it's made
Yeah, they're
Synthahol.
synthetic
synthetic.
grapes.
They're
Yeah.
Gross.
synthahol. Yeah. Um, here. Uh, anyway, if I had to make a bet, it's either not gonna work right now in this jury trial, or it's gonna get turned back on appeal if she does win. So if I had to make a guess, so, and I actually think she's gonna get in a bit of trouble with the judge because apparently during discovery she balked at providing documentation behind the advertising and the communications between the advertising firm and her. So
What's the fundamental lie that she claims?
the fundamental lie is that there was an editorial basically associating Sarah Palin's advertising with the bullet targets, with the
Oh
targets all
yeah.
over it,
Oh, with the shooting,
um,
right?
with the shooting of,
Yeah.
I believe, Gabby Giffords or somebody who got shot, right? And they're basically saying that, her goal was to inspire her followers and adherents to attack. Right now, the New York Times the first draft of the New York Times op-ed uh, hedged quite a bit in saying that,
What? The New York Times? No way.
well, and then the editor, the op-ed page editor who's been exited from the Times, changed the document to be more direct in drawing a line between Sarah Palin and someone getting shot. So her assertion is that while it was an exciting advertisement, it wasn't telling her followers to go shoot people, you know. So that said, it's a slander case, it's a First Amendment case, so she has to prove malice, she has to prove damage, she has to prove all these things for it to
Yeah.
actually
Yeah, that's a hard one.
come through. And while and malice is specifically that they knew it was wrong when they said it, and that the evidence doesn't back it up. Because, I mean, I hate to say it, if she's not providing documentation, somewhere in there, someone might say something offhand, like, but putting targets up, aren't we really just telling people to go shoot these people? Like, there could be an email like that. And that would be enough to basically get the case thrown out, right? And then proving damage is hard because she's a nut bar, right? It's
Right.
like,
You just show all the skits on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Right? Be like, there you go.
It's like her reputation was not further damaged by that op-ed.
Nope.
You
Her
know,
reputation remains exactly the same.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. So anyway, so in the lower court, they may find malice and they may find for Sarah Palin on that. But then it'll go to a higher court, and I think it'll drop because they're going to be like, you're a public figure. The bar is much higher. You can't actually articulate any damage here, right? So I think that they'll wiser heads will prevail.
She should probably edit her Wikipedia page though to like make sure that that's all straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You know.
Okay, so we're a couple of days late, but MAME just had its 25th birthday.
Hey, all right, MAME.
So good on MAME.
What a great project, you know?
It's a great project. I have installed MAME on so many different devices over the years. I like my first MAME, I built multiple MAME cabinets going back like even to like 1999.
Yeah, you did. I've installed MAME. I installed MAME on an N900 tablet handheld in like 2005, right?
The existence of MAME is like my hatred for the locked down like Apple App Store ecosystem thing. MAME is like the single most important reason for my feelings about that sort of thing. It's like I just want MAME. I just want MAME, and your rules don't let emulators on your platform. I just want MAME.
Yeah.
But that said,
I think you can install MAME on Android though.
Yeah.
And then your legitimately acquired ROMs
you can sideload it.
No, I think it's available in the Play Store, isn't it?
Do you guys allow emulators?
Yeah.
Yeah, MAME for
MAME for Droid.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
well, that would make sense too because there's a whole like cottage industry of Android-based front ends for modern arcade.
Yeah. There's Nox players, SNES 9X.
Yeah. That's cool. I don't have an Android device.
And I'm bringing up the Play Store right now.
Actually, that's not true. I have several Android devices, although the Apple.
Yeah, and some of these they're just waiting for the Nintendo. I'm not going to say their names because Nintendo the second they probably have somebody who just goes and uploads, DMCA requests.
Right.
Like calling yourself a Nintendo handheld emulator. That's a good way to get canceled. But yeah, Dolphin emulator's been around forever, if I remember correctly.
Dolphin for the Dreamcast?
Yeah, I believe so.
I have, and
I haven't downloaded 5 million times.
To diss on MAME a little bit. I have MAME running on 2 different Raspberry Pis in my house, one in my office and one in my kids' room.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a Mr. FPGA that I bought actually months ago, and I've only got it like booted up and working. I need to sit down and play it with it again, but my TV has like 30 milliseconds of lag. It's really noticeable on like fast Twitch games. There's just too much lag on my TV to use it there. So I haven't used I can barely beat Super Mario Brothers on my TV because there's so much latency. That said, I'm sure it's totally the latency of my TV and not my old reflexes.
No. It's clearly not that.
No. Anyway, congratulations to everybody connected to MAME. You have squandered
Yeah,
so
the
much of
best.
my time. So Chris, you should check out these AI covers.
Oh, I saw this story. I think this is a terrific story.
This is a Chris story, right? Well, it's a Rob and a Chris story because I like the AI generative art, and you like the classic sci-fi. And this generates cover art randomly, and I think titles for the classic sci-fi novels that never existed. Are you showing the right tab?
And I'm trying to, so I'm going to a story, but now I want to go to the actual website. So I'm trying to find it.
So let's see. They have Counting Mars, and like the green glass is the color of the wind, and like all the cover arts for these, the millions
really
of
good.
eyes. I mean, you could absolutely. I could have imagined seeing any of these books on the Herrick Public Library shelf
right.
as a child.
Dang, did I just lose it?
Lost forever.
I'm trying, man.
The Great Spacious.
Yeah, so this is the story about the thing. So
I don't know. I love generative art.
yeah, me too.
I love these the modern generation of that. We've gone well beyond Markov chains.
Yeah, right.
Do you remember my poetry generator? That
Yes,
I used.
I do.
That thing so it was on commandertaco.net, and it used to get a fair bit of traffic, and I had to take it down because at some point it had two options. One option was it would just generate, like, it would run Fortune like a dozen times and get a big blob of text, and it would generate poetry based on like 50 fortunes or whatever. And then the other one is it would take a URL and it would generate a poem based on any random web page, which when I wrote it in like 1995 was totally fine and no big deal. But when you do that sort of thing in 2005, 2007, 2009, people figure out ways to abuse that. You can't do that anymore.
Jerks.
Ruin it for everybody.
Green glass is the color of the wind.
Anyway, that's just really neat, and they look right. That's somebody did their homework, or I guess a robot did their homework. Let's see. Your cousin from Boston Dynamics. I don't know which of you guys posted this one.
So I believe I posted it. Did you do it before me?
Nope, you did.
So this is their Super Bowl commercial. I guess they decided to put it up because the Super Bowl hasn't happened yet, right?
I don't think so.
Right.
Okay. So here, let me load this up.
I know that famous quarterback retired.
Peyton Manning.
Bob Brady. Tom Brady. So basically, I'm going to unsound it for right now. So these are security guards in Boston.
Long day, huh?
Happy hour.
Thank you. Hey, buddy. You want a Sam Adams? All right.
And then hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
So.
I'm glad that they got the stereotypical Boston accent down.
Yeah. Your cousin from Boston Dynamics.
Oh, I see. So it's like neither individual company can afford to pay the Super Bowl advertising fees, but if Boston Dynamics and Sam Adams, the two most recognizable Boston brands, get together,
yeah, right,
they can together afford a Super Bowl crossover extravaganza.
Yeah, I admit I find it really charming. He's doing the pictures on the copier.
It's cute.
Just touching on the Tom Brady retiring thing. Seth MacFarlane had the best tweet about it. He had a fake news site made up that said, "Ted star Tom Brady quits football." It was great.
Wait, what now? What do you
Seth
say?
MacFarlane had a fake news story and like cover that he posted when that happened that said, "Ted star quits football." It was really good.
That checks out.
I'm finding it.
Well, speaking of Seth MacFarlane,
yeah,
there's a new teaser trailer for the next season of the Orville, which I think we've said several times in the past. The Orville became a better Star Trek than Star Trek.
Yes.
This is a great trailer. It's a little long in the beginning, but it's basically the first. it's just a great trailer.
I
It's
do
totally
worry
worth
because
watching.
the season ended, and I know Rob will back me on this. The season ended with a time travel thing, and now for me, nothing gives me more joy than watching a well executed time travel thing. But also, nothing indicates that your show has derailed more efficiently than a Voyager styled bad time travel
Yeah.
episode.
Well, we're out of ideas. Time for another time travel. Or, oh, we unexpectedly wrote ourselves into a corner.
Yep.
Time for time travel.
Let's send Picard back to 2024.
Honestly, it's been so long since I watched it. I know that Isaac's robot race decided to kill everybody,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they hop back in time to before that to fix it, and I don't know what happened to Isaac after that. So,
Well, one
but
of the
yeah,
characters went back, and then they mucked it up, and like came back like not remembering
yeah, they
things.
basically Omega 13'd it, right? So
Anyway, I the show's good and enjoyable.
it's a
Uh,
great show.
uh,
It's a great trailer.
I
Totally worth the time.
I really do hope that like my news feeds are filled with things about the what is it To Boldly Go or whatever, the Brave New Worlds, whatever the new
Yeah,
Captain
yeah.
Pike Star Trek show is.
Uh-huh.
They claim they're going to be like serialized adventure like the Orville generally is.
Yeah.
And here's hoping, man.
I worry it's gonna probably start okay, and then it'll just turn into, well, let's bring Section 31 into it. People seem to like that. Oh, and Guinan. Let's have Guinan. So my question is, now that Guinan's been canceled,
Oh yeah,
are they
they're
are
they
they
already
gonna
shot their
mess with
season,
that?
man. They're
Have
right.
they shot it?
I mean, they shut down production. Remember,
Yeah.
like 2 months ago or
Or,
a month ago because
Yeah.
they had an Omicron breakout on the set.
That's
or
right.
who are they going to use to replace Guinan, right?
I'll do it.
They're
They'll just
not
take her out
gonna
and have a
care.
new Guinan. They'll have
I mean,
Tig
come
do it.
on. They have the last BronyCon and Guinan. They can debate ridiculous things and get in trouble. It's fine.
I'll do
It's
it,
fine.
but like I'm not gonna like wear a costume or anything. I'll just be me.
No,
But people
I
just
think
call me Guinan.
from now
En's
on,
unboring guy.
from now on, Tig Notaro replaces everyone who
Everybody.
gets canceled in every
I
movie.
think this is a
How about
plan I
that?
can
Yep.
endorse.
How about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
More Tig Notaro in everything.
And admittedly, her role was like, I'm like, I love her in Discovery, but there's no way
Uh-huh.
she would have gone into the future. There's just no way she'd been like, yeah, see you jokers,
No
we're
way.
out.
I'm
you
out of
know?
here. See, what's gonna be
You
awesome?
guys are a bunch of idiots.
What's gonna be awesome is the first time that there's a TV show where two actors get canceled, and then Tig Notaro has to play both
Has
roles.
to be both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's gonna be
You just have
awesome.
Tig come in, replacing Chris Delia, Guinan, Q, his BronyCon antics catch up with him, and
Just the Tig of
she,
us.
yeah,
Pretty
just the
soon
Tig
she's
of us.
80% of all television shows
Yeah,
and all
exactly.
networks.
Perfect
All sardonic
Tiggers.
humor, yeah.
Full Tig. It really
Yeah,
would be.
so
It would be TGIF. Tig's good. It's Friday.
I mean, you remember, you know, one of my favorite things about Starship Troopers is when the Roger Young is being destroyed
Yep.
and they're escaping in that extremely long running through the ship thing. And this is basically the best running through the ship to get away from explosions and breaches and the rest since then. So and it gives it all. It gives it all to you in this.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see. Well, but I hope that it's not a situation like how the trailer for Cowboy Bebop was better than Cowboy Bebop. I finally did finish Cowboy Bebop, which took some effort.
So, how was it?
Once you accepted that it was what it was trying to achieve and that it was not going to achieve what it was trying to achieve, like it leaned too far into the anime stylings and never successfully executed it.
I have to say, surprisingly, I don't have the hate for it that most other people did.
No, I don't
I'm
have
not
hate
saying
either.
it's great. It just, I mean, it is a live action show that they obviously tried to, like, the storyboard must have been the anime.
Yeah. You know what?
And some things work in anime and that don't work over in live action.
Yeah.
We've actually got a couple of really interesting examples of a very related problem to this now in Star Wars, because both Rise of Skywalker and the most recent episode of The Mandalorian have sequence in them that are clearly restricted for an obvious reason. Mark Hamill not being on set, using a CG double, or Carrie Fisher being gone, or in this case, trying to shoot your whole TV show like with this weird styling. It's interesting when people when I guess you fail to execute the translation from one medium to another, or there's a restriction placed on your ability to produce something as a TV show, as a film, and a viewer is very familiar with the way that film should work, with the way that human faces should work. Like, there's rules, and when those rules are broken, you feel it, and that's hard. Let's see.
I started worrying. I saw an interview with the cast, and they were like, "We had such a good time together," and I'm like, "Oh boy, that's grim."
Yeah.
So.
Let's see. Oh, the boundaries for the metaverse. This one cracks me up. They have announced that in the Facebook metaverse, and I will say once again for the record, I think that it's really a garbage maneuver when the megacorp creates a different megacorp to contain the megacorp, as if that will fool us. It does not, and it's offensive.
It's the oldest thing in the world,
I know. I don't like it.
Okay.
So, Facebook Metaverse is going to impose a 6-foot social distancing thing in virtual reality, because Second Life has shown us all sorts of problems. Glad that's what they took away from it.
Here's the thing. If I know Facebook, and I don't know them very well, probably what they're thinking is, well, on Facebook proper, you can set your privacy settings for everyone, friends of friends, or for friends. So maybe we'll have it so that you can have a personal boundary for everyone, friends of friends, or friends. And they'll probably try to twist it all up like that. It's gonna be so lame, because the reality is, it's like people control from 4 feet away. This is not a very far distance pixel wise. It's like,
they're just really they want to make sure that in the metaverse that you don't have any problem talking to the auctioneer in Ogremar.
Yeah, exactly.
What a weird problem.
I mean, I hate to say it, this is the cycle. What's next? The next metaverse story like this is going to be, oh my gosh, I can't believe how many foul expressions people are making at me from 4 feet away. Why don't you just leave me alone? I need a setting where I don't see my not friends.
I need a slider.
Right? Yeah, I need a slider.
Then you have the restraining order checkbox.
And then you turn it into Lonely Town, because your friends aren't on when you're on, and so you're walking around and it's empty all the time. So it's like, look, it's a VR world.
Yay!
I mean, it's like, remember from the very beginning of Xbox and Halo, competition play?
We've all been
What's
teabagged.
the first thing people did? They started crouching, right? It's like, crouch.
Oh no.
Like,
I'm being oppressed.
It's just so dumb.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
So dumb. And it's so predictable,
What's funny is that this isn't going to help any of the problem.
No.
And that's the thing, is nothing is going to change. They just created this. I don't know. I mean, I guess sometimes you're shooting in the dark, solving problems.
Well, it's like everything. Once anything becomes popular enough, their trolls show up.
Yeah.
Because humanity is like 1/10 of 1% troll.
It's how you've succeeded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cost of success.
So who posted this story?
This has got to be Zen.
I did.
Zen?
Yeah.
She's way cuter than her parents.
I love stories like this, and I love the fact that this is found. A lot of people have found missing relatives. I myself had an instance where a unknown cousin appeared in my test. It turned out that guy wasn't really my cousin. He was the son. He was my mom's uncle. Evidently had some illegitimate children that no one knew about, and he had worked his way back, and he found my aunt, and then he reached out to me. So I found out I had biological relatives through a service like this, and people are being caught for crimes and stuff like this. I mean, I wasn't BTK sort of caught by something like this, or the Green River Killer.
So.
One of them was,
or the California one.
Yeah, I can't remember which one, but I mean, yeah, this has opened up a can of worms and a whole bunch of other things that I bet they didn't really think about.
Kind of love it.
So at least this isn't a story where the fertility doctor was using his own stuff.
Or
right?
where it turns out that the mailman got all the ladies in 2 blocks pregnant.
Well, yeah.
That was a story a few years ago,
I mean, I hate to say it, it looks like a pretty normal screw up, right? They grabbed the wrong test tube.
Yeah.
And it's like,
from what I could tell, this was just like lab error, right?
Yeah.
So.
Pretty awesome. It's too bad for that girl, though, now, because now she doesn't have any parents and nobody loves her.
That's actually not
because, as we all know, once you learn the truth of the genetics of your child, all emotional connection to them is immediately severed. Never mind the fact that she's like 15.
Well, I mean, how old is she now? She's like 30-year-old discovered a shocking mistake. So she's 30. Her parents are probably in their 60s or whatever.
Well,
that girl's 30?
Yeah,
she's like a child.
That is a lot of life.
Younger than us.
That's a lot of life that was just a lie and now useless. Though,
yeah.
So I feel bad for her. She has to start life all over at 30.
Orphaned at 30. Tragic.
I don't know.
Tragically orphaned.
The good thing is her new dad, it won't take him long to teach her to ride a bike, right?
That's true.
So some things will be faster.
It's way easier for the second dad.
You know that. You guys are terrible. Well, because I'm like, listen, if she loves her parents, they love her.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But at the same time, I'm like, they probably don't have a lot of money, and they're like, you know what? This is a big screw up that they should get slapped on the wrist for, right? And
yes.
Yeah, but okay, so you're gonna punish a clinic
I mean, in the end,
for something that happened 30 years ago.
There's no
Nobody
upside
still
for
works
winning. There's no upside for winning this case. There's no upside. You're not going to get a lot of money. What are you going to get? Yes, you're right. Good for you. It's, and think of it. I mean, the damage you're doing to your relationship with your kid. I don't
know. They seem pretty happy about it, and if they get a bunch of money, they'll probably be even happier.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I mean, the ultimate thing here is that like everybody who was involved is retired now, and everybody like whatever methodologies are changed since then. There's it's a different pantry. The jars are a different color. Like there's nothing that's the same.
So the one thing I think is very interesting. So if the function of the lawsuit is to find out what happened to the original
to find the other kid
from the father, I think this is so if I were these guys, I would stress that, listen, this isn't about, we love our daughter. It's not about that. It's about finding out the genetic details of her parents so we can plan ahead for medical stuff.
That doesn't end up
in a lawsuit. To find out if we had any other kids out there.
Well, yeah, and then that way they can find out.
They're saying they're not getting any response when they're talking to them, so maybe they're just using this lawsuit to cram up in their files in their mouths.
Well, what if their actual kids like better?
Oh yeah,
yeah, right.
If the real parents
what if that kid
are
is,
rich, we could have like a Beverly Hillbillies kind
like
of
a Julian Fellows drama,
right?
Yeah.
This is going to be good. I see a sitcom.
It's not good.
We got about 5 minutes before my internet dies.
All right, we got 2 Florida stories left on the list.
Okay.
I think they might have both come from Rob. The first one is the Facebook sheriff.
Yeah, that one is
5
just
minutes.
more about to me just the laziness of people, right? So they had to shut down the Facebook page because people were
Yeah, I
using
saw
it
that.
to report crimes
I
and
know when I
stuff.
want to call 911, the Facebook comments section is the first place I
It's
go.
like they're like, "Ah, I got Facebook open already." You know, I
Yeah.
talk on the phone. Who talks? I can't text 911. I'll write on the Facebook page the crimes that are happening in my community.
That'll work.
And yeah, so they had to shut down all the comments because too many people were reporting their crimes there and not through proper channels.
But also it'd be crimes like, Becky, her dog is barking way too much, and I need the cops to
Yeah.
come and fix that.
Someone stole my yacht slip.
There's trucks parked in all of the streets of Ottawa, and I can't walk to the store without being honked at.
Yes.
You know, call the Florida sheriff or Facebook them.
Yes.
It's working
I'm
a lot
scrolling
better.
down.
It's working a lot better than messaging them on Dollnet. So the other Florida story was equally weird, but it's an NFT story. A Florida home is being sold as an NFT, and I don't even
Yeah.
know how that works.
So I mostly put this in here because we have to cover everything toilet and everything NFT, and I knew that it would make Chris rage to read about it because it's so stupid. I mean, so like there are specific laws that pertain to real estate about paperwork and those sorts of things that are different from other contracts and other purchases and stuff you would do. So I'm not sure that this is totally legal, but the idea is they're taking I believe the title to the house, turning that into an NFT, and thereby if you have the NFT, then you can show that you have title to the home. And their thinking is then that means that you own it. But I'm not sure that would stand up in court.
Like if I photocopy my title and hand it to you, does that count?
So there's oftentimes people will want to buy a house with cash, and they'll not do title insurance. They'll not do a lot of things that they don't have to do because they're not carrying a mortgage, right? But you know what they have to do? They have to tell the state, and the state will give them property tax bills.
Yes.
And you can't pay those in Ethereum anywhere but, Bolivia, right?
No, you can only pay in Dogecoin.
So
Yes,
you can contractually sell a house, but here's the thing that's going to happen. Someone's going to buy this house. They're going to find out it's got a ton of cockroaches or whatever, and they're going to be like, hey, the inspection, oh, I didn't get an inspection because it wasn't part of the NFT. Or I got an inspection as part of the NFT. We should go after.
No way, that's
should
part of the
cover
smart
this.
contract.
And I'm sure Proppy, the California-based real estate technology company, will mint the property rights into it's like, okay, so somebody's going to basically bid on this thing. Houses sell by auction all the time. And then you're going to go to your local title company and do all the same bullshit, probably.
Yeah.
Right. I don't.
I recently.
This is just another way to auction it, and it's people saying they're willing to take Ethereum for their house and making it pseudo legal. I mean, they're still going to pay taxes. They're still going to all the rest. And if they say, "Oh, well, I'll pay taxes in Ethereum," the state would be like, "Yeah, f you. Yeah, here's your actual bill."
I recently sold a home for cash.
Right.
And
that's right.
Let me assure you, there was plenty of paperwork and inspections by the county and all those things. Those things still happen.
Yep.
All those things still happen.
There's no shortcut for that.
That's right.
Not even in Florida.
But only in Florida.
Capital of the country.
But only in Florida, because as Chris is going to always say, was it Florida gonna screw you?
Florida gonna screw you.
That's right.
I'm getting a little tired of that sound.
All right, well then we're gonna have to record ourselves making better ones.
So I have to tell you also, the funniest thing about this is most of the crypto bros went to Miami, right?
Yeah.
But this is like far south of Clearwater and Pinellas Park. So I've been in Gulfport. This is not a place that you shouldn't trust this transaction, is what I'm saying.
I
And
wouldn't.
also, this place is the next hurricane. It's just going to basically scrape it off the foundation and tear it down. So
I'm not going to Florida just on grounds that like I want my house to still exist in 10 years.
yeah. So here, let me give you a little share you a map here. So
Before Rob's
Gulfport's
Wi-Fi cuts out.
Gulfport's right here, right?
Okay.
And
Zoom out a
and
little.
this is the Gulf of Mexico, and every year there's like a category 4. It just goes wham, 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 right? And yeah, this
I
mm,
have a
this is something.
relative who lived near there, a little
Yeah.
north, but yeah.
And these are beautiful beaches. Don't get me wrong. Clearwater is fantastic. Paso Grill, all these beaches are awesome, but I wouldn't buy there. So,
Nope. Pleasant place to visit.
yeah, as long as
All
you're
right.
okay getting ripped off.
Let's get out of here before Rob loses all trace of the internet.
Indeed.
Goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
See ya.
Fare thee well, Chris DeBona. The people on the podcast can't see your little salute.
Oh, bye.
Bye. I was Rob Commander Taco Maldo. That was Geeks in Space. We'll see you Friday. Bye.